Christine Beecher.
I'm Jason Beecher, and we established the business in 2018 after I had spent some time working on a recipe for pretzels for the family more than anything else. We moved here from South Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. And if you don't know, Philadelphia is the capital of pretzels in the U.S. and our pretzel capital of the U.S. They consume something like 8 to 10 times more pretzels in the Philadelphia area compared to everywhere else in the country, in every metro area. And anyway, we moved here, but I was working for a company here, and then got laid off and decided we were going to try to pursue the pretzel business full time. And we started at farmers markets. The Kentwood Farmers Market we had on the calendar every weekend, and we got all excited when we would come home with about $150. And we did that for a while, and we realized we needed to kind of do something to increase the income a little bit. And we looked at what an opportunity for a food truck might be. And Chris was really pushing hard on the food truck idea. I wasn't really sold on it. Obviously, we did go that way, and it was I guess you can say a blessing. I mean, we got the food truck just in time, right before COVID hit. And when restaurants were closing down, we were able to go out and get some subdivisions and keep them happy and keep paying our bills too. So the food truck, we operated for 2.5 years, I think, right about 2.5 years. And I had been working in the commissary up the street for about 3 years. And we decided we needed our own space. So we luckily kind of heard about these guys. They had a place for us to rent. We opened this shop in April, and we're still managing the food truck operation, and that's what's keeping us super busy in the summertime. And now that the cold season is here, we're going to try to do a bit more with the shop. Those are sort of, so it's been 4 years, and we've gone, from, I guess, so the farmers markets, then we've got the food truck, now we've got this. And we're just starting to get our feet on some level footing, with regards to paying the bills and all of that. So we're trying to feel, and luckily my wife Chris works as a nurse, so we have secondary income, which also helps a lot. I had mentioned the mixers before. We have a beautiful 60-quart Hobart mixer over here. That new is about $23,000. It's difficult for a small business owner to do anything like that. So I started with some lower, cheaper models, and I broke through about 3 of them in a year and a half or so. So what happened, what kind of culminated was we were deciding to do the food truck. We did the food truck. Then we said, well, now we're going to have to have a little bit of an investment in some cash flow so that we can figure out how to buy a better mixer, so we can't. Because I can't buy a new mixer every couple of months, that kind of thing. We actually refinanced our house, and that was what we used to purchase the food truck, and helped us get into here and purchase some of the equipment that we have today. So we're in debt paying that off, but it's working. The model is looking good, and I feel really good about where we're headed.
Can you talk about both of your day-to-day operations?
Summertime, during the week and weekend, we have lots of food truck events. We're doing probably 4, let's say 4 on average a week, potentially. And it ranges from private events to parties or companies, shift work, to festivals and everything in between. We'll be at Tulip Time in May. We're doing that every year. And Chris does all the bookings, which is really what drives our sales. And she's amazing, and she also shows up every time she can after work, wherever it is, to help out on the truck, help out in the shop, whatever needs to be done. So it really was the 2 of us until just a little less than a year ago we hired an employee.
So I do the booking. I take care of the catering events, pretty much social media, posting the hours, things like that. Mm-hmm.
And so much that needs to get done that you just don't even realize, all the time. We need ice in the coolers. We ran out of cheese, or everything.
What are some of the other problems that occur with a business like this or with food trucks?
Something's breaking and requires, unforeseen maintenance fees. The investment for the trailer was big, but I also needed a truck to be able to pull the trailer. So we bought a used truck. Well, it wasn't long before the muffler was falling off the truck, and it was making it difficult, to kind of get to where we needed to go. flat tire, or when we're out and the weather's cold, my water could freeze, which makes it difficult to do certain things. You don't know where you're going sometimes. People can say, I'll meet you at this place at this time, and you show up and you can't find who you're looking for. Nobody's answering the phone.
But it's just as hard here because here you're waiting. Are people going to show up at the window? You can have even though this is a good location, it's kind of in some ways hidden a little. I mean, it's busy, cars are driving by and stuff, but do people want to get out actually and get out of their car, come to the window and order something? I think they haven't really discovered us yet, full-fledged. And that's what I think is partly a challenge for us here. But I think once that happens, it'll be a good thing.
Can you tell us a little bit about your advertising?
Well, we've been talking about trying to increase the catering piece of it. So maybe going out to the local businesses, meeting with the admins in the area, and trying to give them a sample of what we serve here and a flyer of what they can order. Because a lot of the times they're the ones doing the ordering for the company, or if they're having any company events, things like that. I think in the winter months, that's going to be really helpful for us.
Do you do any paid online advertising?
We've done very, very little to none, just because I think of that as disposable income. Because social media, a lot of it is free. And so that's what we've really been doing, as much as we possibly can. Every so often we may pay $10 or $15 for a Facebook or Instagram ad. EGR, Chris Freeman, he runs that and has been a real help to us. But he has a really big voice in the area too, and has helped with promoting us through social media quite a bit.
Do you do any traditional advertising?
Well, we've got a couple of flags we put out front, and we've got some light up signs. And with the truck, I mean, most of it is word of mouth. Or when we're out at events, people will come to the truck and say, hey, I plan events for such and such a company. Let me have your card. And then a lot of these are repeat. So they're annual events. So once you get it kind of going, after the second or third year, things start to repeat a little bit more often. We know what to expect. We have an easier time booking, things like that.
How many events are you doing a year?
We're doing somewhere around 180. My philosophy is to grow as organically as you possibly can. I've tried to avoid owing money as much as possible. So I think I'm growing probably a little bit slower than, I don't know about your average business, but I only really want to expand if we know we have somebody that can do what needs to be done. It's not so much about let's just go open another store or another truck or something like that. It's about, do we have what we need? The truck is the biggest part of our business. But to be fair, we've only been open here since the beginning of the summer, where we spend most of our time out in the truck. So we probably need to see what next, a year from now we'll have a better idea what we do in the shop and catering versus the truck. But I think that the truck in general is going to be the bread and butter.
Do you know how many pretzels you've sold?
We probably went from about 5,000 pretzels year one to about 20,000 pretzels year two. And now, we're close to, we're doubling that now. And we're going to be going into our fourth year.
Yeah, and what percent do you think comes from the food truck?
Greater than 75%.
Earlier you were saying about how you wanted to do more catering. Why is that?
As the weather cools down, we want to really take advantage, and the holidays pick up, we want to be able to just take advantage of that a little bit more. So we've got a wreath that we showed you, and then we've got a couple of other items, special items on the website available for order. And we feel that there's just a ton of potential in the area for catering, and we just haven't really tapped into it. We haven't done much of anything to try to really go after that, and I think that's kind of what Chris was saying too.
Once you grow your business to max potential, how would you do that?
This place is, 600 square feet, I think. We're kind of maxed out in the summer already here. So what we need to try to do is figure out where we can have a place potentially to keep our trailer and work out of, rather than have two separate places. Give us a little bit more storage space, probably invest in another piece of equipment or two to help with a little bit of automation, just to kind of increase our capacity. By then we'll know the best place to feed those, whether it's the truck or a shop or whatever. So right now we're working really hard to fill the needs for one truck, and if we are able to move into something else when we graduate from here, I think that we would be able to feed more. that's sort of the objective. Our pretzels are unique because they're made fresh and they're dipped in a soda solution the traditional German way. And although there are other places around here where you can get pretzels, they're either going to probably have been frozen and they're purchased from a distributor. Nothing wrong with that. Everything has a place. But we saw an opportunity for really good fresh pretzels. And well, there's also the chains we're all familiar with that also have pretzels. What makes ours unique, though, is that they're fresh and they're traditionally made. And that's what gives you the color, that gives you the texture, and the really unique aromatics that you get with the pretzels, our pretzels.
And they taste like a real pretzel. I mean, I say that because there are pretzels that just taste like bread, you know, and this tastes like a real pretzel. And I say that because, like you said, growing up in New York, you know, I used to go in the city and they used to have these big pretzels and they'd cook them on these warm, like, I don't know, I guess it was like an open fire, and it kind of reminded me of that.
We've gotten really good positive feedback, welcome with open arms. We're just trying to keep that going.
When people are buying them, how do they buy them? Just the average person?
Well, if they're buying them on the food truck, obviously they're getting a pretzel, usually a dip. 9 out of 10 times they want a pretzel with cheese, beer cheese. So they'll buy it just like that. If they're buying it from here, normally they'll buy it more in bulk. They'll get like maybe 2 for 10, 3 for 12, that sort of thing. 6 pretzels at a time, and they're always served hot because we feel like that's the best way to eat a pretzel.
You can certainly ask for them, you know, bagged with salt on the side to take them home for later.
But most people are taking it somewhere, so they want it hot. And so that's pretty much how we serve stuff here. We're trying to, you know, come up with some newer, different ideas. A lot of people ask for sweet pretzels. We don't really like to serve our pretzels sweet. When I say sweet, I mean like the cinnamon sugar, because a lot of people ask for that. But the German-style pretzel is really not traditionally sold sweet. So we're trying to come up with something a little different. Not a twist like a pretzel twist, but more of an elongated pretzel.
What we want to do is keep the focus on the pretzel
Yeah.
as much as we can. It's easy to start saying, well, we can make sandwiches, and we do. We'll make a sandwich, but this isn't going to turn into a sandwich shop, you know? We're going to focus on the pretzels and make the best pretzels we possibly can. And that takes, you know, all the work, all the effort that we have. And but what we can do is complement the pretzel with all kinds of fun dips, you know, whether it be like a jalapeno popper dip or a French onion dip or the hot beer cheese with jalapenos, or, you know, whatever's going on, any trendy flavors, anything we want to try, we can do it that way with the dip. And we will try, and we will do some other things, but it's not our strong point, and it's not something that we want to make a part of our core.
What would you say your biggest expense is monthly?
We're spending thousands a month, and it's split mostly. It's labor, ingredients, and disposables, fuel. We pay a fair amount to vend. Also, a lot of events charge for vending. Overhead, so I pay rent here and I pay rent at the commissary.
Maybe like the initial investment was like $100,000.
But what you had to invest to sell your first pretzel?
I mean, a few hundred, I guess, just to sell a pretzel, but I could only make a couple dozen a day, so I wasn't selling much. It's a lot of money. This place was totally unfinished. There was nothing. This used to be some kind of electronics repair shop, and, you know, we had to put up $50,000 of contractor work for a 3-year lease, you know, plus equipment and all. Now, yeah, I own the equipment, but the $50,000 part was just build out, electric, you know, just to get us here. And then this oven right here, this double oven, was supposed to be delivered in December. In December, I found out, he said it wasn't going to be delivered till March. In March, I got in touch with him. He said it's not going to be delivered till the following December. So I had a little bit of a scuffle with him, and we got it earlier. But I've heard stories of other people that have just gone out of business because they haven't been able to get their oven. So we're, you know, and we're lucky. You know, we're here. I feel good about it. I feel like we're moving in the right direction. There are challenges like any business. My background is operations in food operation and food science and R&D. And so my focus has always been to develop the best formula that I can, the best recipe that I can for these things. This is not about necessarily just growing a brand. I want to make a really good product and then grow from there. If we can't grow, because we don't have people, we don't have whatever it is, then we won't. This is not just about expanding a brand as quickly as we can. And that comes from my beliefs and my background. I'm not a sales guy. I'm a product guy.
Can you guys give 3 tips of advice for other entrepreneurs?
Give yourself time, more time than you think you need.
Be patient.
Patience.
Yeah. And
Expect some real ups and downs. Expect to want to give up.
Yep.
And just keep at it. Just do not.
And prepare for
give
the
up.
worst, but hope for the best.
And have some money, some rainy day money, because you're going to need it.